Hey, what's up, guys? This is MugenLord here, and it looks like the chickens have came home to roost down at Square Enix, because it looks like Final Fantasy VII First Soldier will be ending its service 2023. Before we dive into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because it definitely helps me out here on the YouTube channel and the algorithm, and also hit that bell to be notified for more RPG news and just gaming in general here on this channel. So let us dive right into it. Now, Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, first of all, for those of you guys who are new to this channel or just not in the loop when it comes to anything Final Fantasy VII related, well, essentially Final Fantasy VII First Soldier is actually a Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale. Now, I know it sounds ridiculous, I know it sounds crazy, who asked for this? And that has always been the questions to most fans who had pretty much seen the initial reveal trailer for Final Fantasy VII First Soldier. Now, before I even dive into the problems and the issues that pretty much started all of this, I just want to say is that Battle Royale as a genre has become very, very popular, and a lot of companies really want to cash in on this genre. Now, can certain franchises work as a Battle Royale? Yeah, and then some, no. But Final Fantasy in particular, in my opinion, I think it can definitely work as a Battle Royale. I mean, look at Final Fantasy when it comes to the gameplay mechanics altogether. You have the very different class systems that's in most Final Fantasy games, and interesting character designs, and just the overall world itself. And I think it can definitely work as a Battle Royale. The thing about Battle Royales is the fact is that since everybody's doing them, they really have to stand out. And I think Final Fantasy as a property can mostly do it. I mean, to make it much more unique. But in this case, as Final Fantasy VII First Soldier is concerned, the game had failed miserably. Now, I think there's plenty of factors that's involved here in that play to the reason why it failed. I think for starters is the fact is that, one, it was only released on mobile devices. I think that is the wrong decision to even make. And I think that in most cases is the fact is that when it comes to mobile games is not quite there yet, especially if you're trying to market to a, gamers in general who love traditional controllers, and, or if they're on a computer, they love the mouse and keyboard. It just, phones and mobile devices just doesn't work. Now, I know that there are third-party accessories that you can use for your smartphones to use controllers and everything, but that's pretty much not an efficient way to have that gaming experience. And from what I've seen with First Soldiers, there are some people out there that actually quite like it. Some people say, it's not bad, but it's not really good. It's just mediocre. But if this game would have been pretty much released on consoles, I think this game would probably pretty much still be around. Like, I would have definitely given it a try. If you look on Twitter, and even if you look on comment sections of most of the First Soldiers videos, many people were willing to give it a try, but then later on find out that, hey, it's for mobile devices only. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't cut it. And the second issue is that a lot of mobile devices, a lot of people phones couldn't run it. You need a pretty beefy smartphone in order to run the game properly. And those who try to actually hook their device up to the computers, to their PCs to stream it so they can play it on a much bigger screen, still had issues with setting it up as well. So there's a lot of problems at hand here that really pretty much stopped and hindered the progress or any chance of this game even succeeding. And it seems like Square Enix just shoots themselves in the foot with decisions like this. And then it also makes me think of, if this game failed, then what could possibly happen to Final Fantasy Ever Crisis? Does that game even have any hope? And that is also a dumb decision on Square Enix part, to even make that a mobile device only type of game, especially for those who actually wanted a true remake to Final Fantasy VII. So how would that work out? And then what about the next Kingdom Hearts title that's coming out for mobile devices? Now that we look at First Soldier being a failure, and it closes this door, like I said, January 2023, and the game haven't been out for a year yet, and it was released November of 2021, and it's almost going on a year, and they already talking about closing the door on it. And that really sucks, because this was a game that I wanted to try out, and I was willing to give it a try because, one, I am a Final Fantasy fan, and two, it looks a little bit much more different than a typical battle royale game that's out there right now. So I was definitely willing to give it a try, and I don't know why Square Enix decided to go this route. Now, another thing that we really need to discuss about this whole situation is, what can we learn, or what can Square Enix learn from this? Because it seems as though that when it comes to live service games, is that Square Enix just keep fumbling the ball on these franchises when it comes to live services. It seems like this is just something that they just cannot nail, to the wall. They just can't get it right. And in my opinion, I think they should just leave it alone. We just did a video about almost 2 weeks now that we had another title which was made by Platinum Games that just failed. The game just failed, just terribly. It just didn't do well, and that game has only been up for almost a year, and it just didn't work. And this was another game that Square Enix was trying to push as their live service game, and it just didn't work at all. And then we also had to look at The Avengers, which was another game, and that was made by Crystal Dynamics but published by Square Enix, and that game had failed terribly. This is like Marvel. It should be a home run. It should be an alley-oop. This is like how did they get that to fail? But it happened to it. They did it. They said, hold my beer, watch us mess this up, and they did the same thing with Avengers. So they have a track record of not being able to pull off these live services, and I can just keep going with examples. Let's talk about the CD of Final Fantasy NT. I did a whole video about it, so if you guys are interested in that, definitely check it out. They did poor marketing for that game, and I found the game fun along with my brothers, and they pretty much didn't communicate to the fan base. They only communicated to the Japanese fan base, but left a lot of the American fans or the Western fans left in the dark, so they didn't know what was going on. And the updates were very slow, weren't as frequent, and they spent more time giving us cosmetics supposed of actually like balancing the game or fixing, the netcode issues and everything. So it seemed like Square Enix doesn't really have their priorities together when it comes to their live service games. And I think that we're starting to see a shift in their game plan and their business model from Square Enix moving forward. And I mentioned before that Square Enix had mentioned that they're going to stick to what they know best, and that's creating JRPGs, creating RPGs that everybody knows and love. So I think that when it comes to this game, as far as Final Fantasy First Soldier is concerned, this is just the end of an era to where Square Enix is now shifting their gears and shifting their focus mainly on JRPGs. That's what I believe is going on now. Will they actually making another attempt to actually try the Battle Royale? We have to wait and see how that will work out. But I don't think, as far as this point, I think the doors in the chapter is closed, in my opinion, for live services at this point, because it's just not working out for them. And First Soldier is just a bummer, because I would love to see how the meta of the game would evolve. I would love to see how other mechanics they could have possibly introduced, crossover events. I would love to see the game actually make it over to consoles. I was hoping that if the game was successful on mobile devices, that they would probably make a decision to bring it over to consoles, but I don't think that's a possibility anymore. I think they're gonna just close the door, shut it off, and just pretend it never exists, and that's a shame. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think about First Soldier being scrapped, being shut down January of 2023? If you played it, let me know in the comment sections below. What did you think about First Soldier as a game on mobile device? And if you haven't played it, was you considering playing it if it was to move over, or if it ever made it over to consoles? Definitely your thoughts in the comment sections below. And do you also think that this is it for live services for the time being from Square Enix themselves? I definitely like to hear your thoughts. So if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, because it definitely helps me out in the algorithm. Channel's been doing really good. It's been booming, and I really appreciate the feedback that you guys have been leaving. Definitely appreciate it. And before I go, don't forget to hit that bell to be notified for more JRPG news in the near future. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you Game Fiends later. Peace out.